In Mississippi, 1932, Sammy stumbles wearily into a church during the middle of Sunday service, covered in blood and clutching his broken guitar. His father, Jedediah, the local preacher, immediately rushes over, embracing him and begging Sammy to abandon the devil's music and return to God. But Sammy's mind is consumed by terrifying visions of monstrous creatures from the night before. Flashback to a day earlier. Twin brothers Smoke and Stack have just returned home after years spent first in the Army, then in Chicago working dangerous jobs for the mob. Having stolen enough money from gangsters, the brothers proudly purchase an old sawmill and surrounding land from Hogwood, a former Ku Klux Klan member. The twins warn Hogwood bluntly. If they ever catch him or any Klan associates near their property again, they'll be dead men. Hogwood nervously laughs it off, insisting the Klan is long gone. Meanwhile, Sammy retrieves his guitar from the church where his father had hidden it, urging him to give up sinful temptations. Jedediah tries to convince Sammy to help with his sermon, but Sammy, tired and frustrated, just wants to rest. Their argument is interrupted when Smoke and Stack arrive to pick up Sammy, their cousin, for a special job. The three cousins head into the woods to find a hidden truck loaded with bootlegged alcohol. A sudden rattlesnake attack surprises them, but Stack swiftly kills it with his knife. Smoke drives the truck into town, paying a local girl to watch it before heading into a grocery store run by his old friends, Bo and Grace. Smoke announces the twins are opening a new juke joint and wants their help providing food and signs. Their warm reunion is suddenly interrupted when Smoke hears the truck horn blaring. Two foolish thieves are trying to steal his alcohol. Without hesitation, Smoke fires his gun, hitting one thief in the rear and another in the leg. The thieves instantly panic when they recognize Smoke, knowing his dangerous reputation. Elsewhere, Stack drives Sammy to a train station, giving him crude advice on charming women. Sammy, however, wants to know about the twins' past, especially how their father died. Stack reveals their abusive father once knocked him unconscious, and when Stack woke up, Smoke had already set their father ablaze. Feeling closer to Sammy, Stack hands him their father's old guitar. Sammy gratefully plays him a song as they drive. At the train station, Stack spots Slim, a talented harmonica player. Initially hesitant to join the twins' venture, Slim quickly changes his mind when Stack promises him money and unlimited Irish beer. Stack announces the juke joint's grand opening, unaware that his ex-girlfriend Mary is watching him from a distance. After their performance, Sammy flirts with Pearline, a local singer who politely reminds him she's married. Still, Sammy invites her to sing at the opening. Mary confronts Stack, furious that he left town without a word and never even sent flowers after her mother passed away. Pretending to be indifferent to protect her, Stack lets her walk away hurt. The trio heads off again and encounters prisoners working alongside the road. Slim admits he knows them, revealing he spent time in prison himself. Their next stop is the cotton fields, where they recruit the intimidating Cornbread as their new bouncer. Meanwhile, Smoke visits his child's grave, leaving flowers before seeing his ex-wife Annie. Although skeptical of the twins' plans, Annie reluctantly agrees to be the joint's cook. She secretly practices hoodoo, selling healing remedies to townsfolk. Smoke laughs at her magic, but Annie insists that her protective rituals are the reason the twins survived this long. Noticing Smoke still wears the protective mojo bag she made for him, Annie realizes he still cares deeply for her, and they passionately rekindle their relationship. That afternoon, a frantic Irish immigrant named Remick, severely burned, rushes to a remote cabin begging for help. Joan and Bert, residents of the cabin and secret Klan members, hold him at gunpoint until Remick convinces them he needs help rescuing his kidnapped wife from the Choctaw tribe. Shortly afterward, Choctaw warriors arrive, warning Joan that Remick is dangerous. Joan denies seeing anyone, but soon after finds Bert lying injured and bleeding, with Remick standing over him covered in blood. To Joan's horror, Bert suddenly awakens as a vampire. Remick had attacked and turned him. That night, the twins' juke joint officially opens, filled with music, dancing, and celebration. Smoke is enraged upon learning Stack allowed customers to pay using plantation credits, realizing this risky generosity could jeopardize their financial future, especially after investing nearly all their stolen Chicago money. In the midst of Smoke's frustration about customers paying with plantation credits, Stack and Annie persuade him that if they loosen the rules slightly, their juke joint will soon become famous, attracting more paying customers with real cash. Outside, Mary tries to enter, but Cornbread stops her at the door. Realizing she's an old childhood friend, he lets her pass. Sammy immediately tries to escort her out, knowing his cousins wouldn't want her around, but Mary confidently brushes him off and pulls him over to the bar for a drink. Sammy questions why she's even there since she appears white, prompting Mary to reveal her mixed heritage and how her mother lovingly raised the twins as her own. Smoke interrupts their conversation, insisting they did send flowers to Mary's mother when she was alive. Smoke then alerts Stack to Mary's presence. Stack confronts Mary, attempting to pay her to leave. She refuses angrily, and in a heated exchange, Stack admits he's still in love with her but can't be with her because it's too dangerous. Leaving her heartbroken, Stack storms away. Inside the club, Slim has been entertaining the crowd with piano all night. Now, it's Sammy's turn to step up. As Sammy plays passionately, his music electrifies the atmosphere. The energy is so powerful it awakens spirits of musicians and dancers from the past and future, invisibly joining the living in joyful celebration. After the performance, Sammy slips away with Pearline to a private room for some intimacy. Meanwhile, Sammy's incredible music attracts unwanted attention from the vampires, Remick, Bird, and Joan, who now approach the joint. Cornbread blocks their entry, and soon the twins come to see what the fuss is about. Remick tries to charm them by performing a song, but the twins dismiss their music as inappropriate. When Remick offers money to enter, Smoke and Stack firmly decline, reminding them the club is not open to white patrons. Remick and his vampire companions reluctantly leave. Afterward, Smoke privately advises Sammy to return home and stick to church music, warning him it's safer. When Sammy protests, determined to pursue his own path, Smoke briefly threatens him at gunpoint. Sammy doesn't back down, and Smoke, respecting his determination, puts his weapon away. Elsewhere, Stack admits to Mary that they're struggling financially because of the plantation credits. Mary suggests checking if those 3 musicians who approached earlier actually had money, so Stack reluctantly gives her a gun. Mary finds the trio performing nearby, and Remick shows her strange gold coins, claiming they're from another time. For a brief moment, Mary feels at ease talking to them, until Remick's eyes glow an ominous red. Frightened, she pulls out the gun and quickly walks away, ordering them to leave. Back at the joint, Cornbread takes a bathroom break, leaving Slim to watch the door. In the woods, Cornbread hears eerie whispers calling his name. Meanwhile, Mary returns just in time to see Pearline singing with Sammy. She hands Stack a few gold coins before passionately kissing him. Distracted, Stack doesn't notice the fresh wound on her shoulder as she convinces him to move to a private room to continue their intimacy. Inside, Smoke is alerted to a violent incident in the gambling room. A man is slashing other players with a blade. Smoke quickly steps in, disarming and holding the attacker at gunpoint. Upon searching the attacker, they discover loaded dice, and the angry crowd proceeds to beat him. Smoke sends Sammy to find Stack for help, but Sammy returns quickly, embarrassed after catching Stack with Mary. Annoyed, Smoke goes himself, noticing Cornbread is missing and agreeing with Slim that he's been gone too long. When Smoke opens the side room door, he's horrified to discover vampire Mary biting Stack's neck. Smoke fires his guns into Mary multiple times, but she recovers instantly, threatening that everyone will die before escaping into the night. Despite Smoke's desperate attempt to save Stack, his brother dies tragically in his arms. As chaos unfolds, Slim quickly evacuates all the guests. Annie urges Smoke to leave Stack's body outside and barricade the doors, but Smoke insists on locking Stack's corpse securely in the side room instead. Suddenly, Cornbread returns, oddly asking for permission to enter the building. Annie, suspicious, challenges Cornbread, accusing him of being a vampire when he refuses to explain himself. Cornbread feigns offense and demands his pay. Just as Smoke reaches to pay him, Cornbread reveals his vampire form, grabbing Smoke to bite him. Smoke quickly shoots Cornbread in the face, but it has no effect. As Cornbread lunges again, Smoke narrowly escapes back inside, locking the door tightly. At that moment, the now vampiric Stack begins pounding on the locked side room door, stabbing it violently with his knife. He insists he's fine, but Annie reminds everyone that Stack died. He's no longer human. Suddenly, Stack smashes the door, tackling Sammy. Annie bravely splashes pickled garlic juice on Stack's face, causing him excruciating pain and forcing him to flee. While Smoke checks on Sammy, Grace grows anxious, wanting to find her husband who'd left earlier to fetch the car. Annie strongly advises her to stay inside until sunrise, then proceeds to educate everyone on vampire weaknesses. Sammy is left pondering whether their powerful music somehow awakened these deadly creatures, setting off the terrifying events they're now facing. In a quiet moment, Annie pulls Smoke aside and makes him promise that if she ever turns into a vampire, he'll end her suffering. Not long afterward, the group discovers one of the guests lying dead in the back room. Sammy and Smoke drag the body outside, only to find Remick has transformed numerous people into vampires. These new creatures now dance and play music around Remick, eerily echoing his sinister song. Quickly retreating, Sammy and Smoke rush back inside. Annie instructs everyone to eat garlic to confirm they're still human. When Pearline resists, Smoke forcefully insists at gunpoint. Slim's intense reaction to the garlic startles everyone, but it's just his stomach reacting badly to all the alcohol he's consumed. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. As Smoke cautiously opens it, the person outside is immediately attacked and devoured by a vampire cornbread. Moments later, Bo appears, urging Grace to join him because he has their car ready. The group grows suspicious, refusing to invite him in. Remick interrupts, promising power and freedom, saying his vampiric gift is exactly what they need to overthrow a world that has betrayed them. Remick cruelly threatens Grace's daughter, causing her to panic. Remick then shifts his focus to Sammy, explaining he needs Sammy's musical talent to attract more vampires. He offers to spare everyone if Sammy willingly joins him. Smoke fiercely rejects this deal, protecting his cousin. As vampires surround the building, Remick reveals that Hogwood tricked the twins. The Ku Klux Klan is still active, and Hogwood purposely sold them this property to gather the local black community in one place for easy extermination. Mary and Stack, now vampires themselves, plead with their friends to accept Remick's offer, believing it's their only chance against the Klan. They argue becoming vampires means ultimate freedom and strength. The group firmly declines and seals the door, but Grace spirals into panic, fearing for her daughter's safety. Her distress intensifies as the vampires begin singing hypnotically outside. Overcome with terror, Grace finally screams an invitation, accidentally allowing the vampires entry. A violent battle erupts instantly. Grace bravely throws a torch at Remick, but he easily deflects it. Vampires burst into the building, and the friends fight desperately, staking and shooting as many vampires as they can. Grace tragically perishes in flames while defeating her husband-turned-vampire, Bo. In the chaos, Annie is bitten by Stack. Smoke rushes to her side, but Remick brutally knocks him down. Pearline shoots Remick, forcing him away, allowing Smoke one last moment with Annie. With heartbreaking resolve, Annie reminds Smoke of his promise. With tears in his eyes, Smoke whispers his love to Annie before mercifully ending her suffering with a stake. Stack and Mary, retaining traces of their humanity, watch sorrowfully. Realizing their dire situation, the survivors race upstairs while Slim heroically stays behind, sacrificing himself as a distraction. Vampires overwhelm him, allowing Remick to corner the group upstairs. Pearline bravely attacks Remick but is overpowered and bitten. Amidst the struggle, Smoke fights fiercely against Stack. Sammy rushes toward Pearline, but she begs him to run before she transforms. Sammy desperately leaps from the upper floor, injuring his leg, but manages to escape the building. Outside, Remick catches Sammy, viciously slashing him and pushing him into a lake, preparing for a final bite. But when Sammy begins desperately praying, all vampires pause, silently echoing his words. Enraged, Remick repeatedly dunks Sammy underwater, angrily cursing religion. Inside, the intense fight between the twins continues relentlessly. Stack ultimately pins Smoke down, preparing to bite but hesitates. Smoke quickly seizes the chance to overpower Stack, grabbing his stake while apologizing for failing to protect him. Stack gently tells him there's nothing to apologize for. By the lake, Sammy seizes the distraction, grabs his guitar, and smashes it over Remick's head. All the vampires reel in pain. Enraged, Remick pulls a guitar piece from his skull, but before he can strike again, Smoke appears from behind, plunging a stake deep into Remick's heart. Dawn breaks at that exact moment, causing all vampires, including Remick, to burst into flames. Remick perishes last, consumed by a fiery whirlwind. Knowing the clan will soon arrive, Smoke quickly sends Sammy away in his car to safety. Soon after, Hogwood and a mob of armed clansmen arrive, only to find the building locked. Smoke, hidden in the woods, opens fire and swiftly eliminates half the attackers. As he emerges to confront the remaining Klansmen, he's shot in the stomach. 2 Klansmen attempt to flee by truck, but Smoke expertly throws a grenade, destroying them both. Hogwood, the sole survivor, desperately offers money, but Smoke mercilessly shoots him dead. Gravely wounded, Smoke hallucinates seeing Annie and his child, and dies peacefully, reunited with his family. Meanwhile, Sammy reaches the church, refusing his father's demands to abandon music. Determined, he leaves Mississippi, heading north to pursue his dreams. Decades later, an elderly Sammy still passionately plays music in clubs. One night, Mary and Stack visit, revealing Smoke had spared them long ago in exchange for never harming Sammy. They sense Sammy nearing the end of his life and offer him immortality through vampirism, urging him to continue his music forever. Sammy graciously declines, confessing he's seen enough of life. However, he agrees to perform one final song for his old friends. Reflecting nostalgically, Sammy admits the night at the juke joint was the best moment of his life. Stack solemnly agrees, recalling it as the last time he saw daylight, the last precious memory with his brother, and the last moment he truly felt freedom.